Welcome back, yelling and screaming NFL playoff edition. Sean, we are, to be frank, balls deep in the wild card round already. What a hell of a couple of games yesterday, man. I don't think we could have started the weekend any better.
Not gonna lie. Obviously, you look at teams who are, the twos and the sevens. You look at those games and you say, you know what, this game's not may not be as good. You look at some of these other games. You see teams sub 500. You look at those and you go, hey, this game might be. This was a phenomenal day for football. Two very good games. Teams that some people may have thought were outmatched, played hard, played tough football. And I was really excited to watch some guys who I didn't give the best, didn't give the best respect to, the most respect to early on, play really well. So great day for football.
Yeah, phenomenal. I was continuously blown away. I'm like, wow, this feels like playoff football, and it was a lot of fun. Rams knock off the Panthers 34-31. This game felt like a basketball game. I mean, there are times like the Rams are up big, and there's no way the Panthers come back, and then the Panthers come back. It's like there's no way the Rams can win this game, and like just the final sequence in the fourth quarter with 28 points scored in the fourth quarter, back and forth and back and forth, and the chunk plays and the clock management. Wow, what an awesome game this one was.
It was really, really good. And honestly, the spread, I don't know who put that spread out there, why they thought it was going to be so bad, but Carolina saw that and said, oh, yeah, watch this. And they came out and they played their toughest game that I've seen against a very, very strong opponent. Somebody who everybody said had the pedigree, had them beat at every single position. And they said, no, we're here. And all season, we wanted to show you guys that we're here. We're one of those. We are a better team than what our record says, and it showed in that game. They played an incredible game. Home crowd had the energy going. It was back and forth as to who was going to win the game. I thought Carolina had it. Not gonna lie, I thought they had it. I was there. I was there.
I mean, they did have it, and I
Mhm.
think that's what's like most impressive to me is like it was done. I had already written up half a page of notes on like apologizing to Bryce Young because like the way the game was flowing, and then they go down and score just outside the 2-minute warning and looked commanding on that drive.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, like this is it. Well, MVP of the league had something else to say. Obviously, Stafford comes back down and scores to take the lead there. But I think the big takeaway for me is that the Panthers did this all on Bryce Young because the rushing game really never got going. Hubbard had a larger role than we've seen him have pretty much all year. Um, but still from a yards per carry standpoint, just didn't really perform. Dottle was
Mhm.
5 carries for 9 yards.
Mhm.
They just never really got it going on the ground. But where it looked fantastic was through the air. Bryce Young, around his normal completion percentage, but the selection, the route selection, where he was putting the balls, the touch he was putting on balls was phenomenal. Great decision making by him.
Jalen Coker looked incredible in this game. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ted had some great catches, and we saw him get the ball to a couple different receivers in this game. And you were absolutely correct. The run game was very pedestrian. I mean, besides a Bryce Young 16-yard run, longest runs were 8 yards, and Rico Dowdle's 9 yards, really 8 of them came off one carry. So he was very much not really a factor at all in this game, and that's I'm sure what the Rams' game plan was is to stop the run game because that was one of the things that really helped Carolina in this season. But we looked at what the Rams did, and realistically, their clock management was much better than what we thought than what Carolina's was. I mean, we got a lot more carries, 29 versus 22, over 100 yards rushing, and they really did get Blake Corum and Kyron Williams in the game, in the rush game. They had used them almost about 50-50, which is what you would see on this team. They really do like to use their run game to manage that clock. And I mean, you get Stafford to throw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, only 1 sack. So obviously he was doing really well back there. Bryce Young, though, 2 sacks in the game, 264 touchdown and a pick, and in a pick that really wasn't even, it wasn't one that had as much influence on the game. But yeah, I was very impressed with his poise and the way that he played in a playoff game. Granted, again, home crowd, home field advantage. You got a lot of energy. You're the
They
underdog.
were hyped for it too. I was surprised at how hard Charlotte came out for that game.
Honestly, it was great to see. I was up on the Panthers all season. I had a buddy of mine who we were out, and he's like, "No 8 and 9 team should ever make the playoffs." Funny enough,
I mean that's fair.
I mean, here's the thing though: if you got a team with if you got a division with a lot of parity, whether it's good or bad, an 8 and 9 team can get it done. I mean, we're not necessarily talking about Super Bowl caliber, but this game was one play away from it being an absolute disgrace for a team that has the MVP, two receivers that are, in Nacua and Devontae Adams, one that's going to be a Hall of Famer and another guy who's on pace to just tear up the league for the next couple of years. A running game that people thought, was one of the top tier in the league and a top tier defense. And to see Carolina, a team that most people had written off, a team that barely won their division, didn't even win their division on the backs of their own wins. And they come out and they put on a beautiful, masterful game at home that puts them just a play away from taking a playoff win here. I think that they're moving in the right direction. I think that that they really just have a few little pieces that they're going to adjust in this offseason. We might be seeing Carolina next year really challenging for that division as well, and that's what I love to see about football.
I really like the way the broadcast narrative played out with the Bears game following this one. They talked about the big trade, right, that brought Bryce Young to Carolina and, how it looked for Carolina and how it looked for the Bears. And it was really nice to dovetail out of this game into Packers-Bears. Obviously, the Bears win this one 31-27. Wild game. I asked while we were watching in the watch party chat, I'm like, should they just tell Caleb Williams he had a concussion and every quarter is the fourth quarter? Like, just completely gaslight him and make him think every quarter is the fourth quarter? He'd be the best quarterback of all time.
He was phenomenal in this game.
Crazy.
Phenomenal in the back half. Honestly, I've not given Caleb Williams as much love as obviously a lot of those Bears fans do. I've obviously shit on Jordan Love a lot as well, and talking about him throwing his back foot, and he was electric in this game as well. I mean, no picks, 1 sack, 4 touchdowns. I think he's the first quarterback to lose with 4 touchdowns and no picks. I mean, paced the game. It's incredible. Paced the game. The run game, 99 yards, nothing crazy, but still used relatively effectively in the game. And they and my guy who I've been up on all season, Rico Dotto, his safety blanket, goes for 8 and 124. So, I mean, he obviously felt very comfortable in the game. He hit, what he hit? 8, 9 receivers in this game, maybe 10.
He passed it around a ton.
9 receivers in this game he hit, at least 1 reception. So that tells you that he was really spreading the ball around, getting it to his guys that were open, and they were making their catches. So, I mean, I can't do anything but just be up on Jordan Love in this game. He played a hell of a game. He led his team down the field when it mattered. This is another one of those games where you're 1 play away from winning the game. You can't do anything if your kicker missed kicks. Sorry, but McManus, you're out of here, kid. Like, I'm sorry, you cannot kill our season like that. And I saw him, you saw him kicking in Denver. You've seen him kicking a few other places around the league. He's kind of one of those guys who gets a job, plays pretty decently, and then kind of chokes in a lot of places that you need him. And so that was a terrible, sad way for your team to kind of end the season on the back of a kicker. But hey, that's football, baby. You got to win in all levels. And so I think it was a really, really, really hard fought game as well.
We are not kicker friendly on this podcast. Hate kickers, love punters, hate kickers.
You're not just not kicker friendly. Just so you guys know, Rick has an entire league that's just kickers, and then has a league that our regular league has no kickers. 3-tier relegation league, no kickers. You better individual defensive players. But that's part of the game.
Well, and it amplifies it in a game like this, right? Because the difference in this game is the kicker, and I forget who it was. It might have been a college broadcast, but the guy's sitting. Oh, it was Monte Teo. It was Monte Teo on NFL Morning, and he's losing his mind about shitty kickers. If you go back to his Notre Dame career, there are a couple missed kicks away from some interesting things happening there. And he went off. He's like, they don't go to meetings. They don't work out. They just prance around at practice. He's like, kickers shouldn't be a part of the game. I'm like, yes. I like ordered my Monte Teo jersey right then.
Don't worry. It'll be invisible. It'll be an invisible jersey.
Jesus.
I'll tell you right now.
my big concern with the Bears is kind of the same as been all year. Caleb Williams is super inaccurate. Obviously, wins are wins. He's getting the job done. He's the least accurate quarterback in the NFL this season, threw below his season average completion percentage at 50% for this game, but 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the win. The inaccuracy is going to come to haunt them once they're playing a secondary with a little more juice than the Packers do. A lot of injuries there. So I don't want to take anything away from what was a phenomenal game, a phenomenal comeback. 25 points in the fourth quarter comebacks, I would say, aren't sustainable. This was the Bears' 7th win this year, down by more than, I think it was 10 points in the fourth quarter, which is insane. That's insane. So, like, we know, right, this isn't the 2026 sustainable thing. But this team, this Bears unit, this year, I mean, it's kind of proven out at this point, isn't it? I mean, if you could come back every single fourth quarter, you're close. Who am I to talk it down, man? I mean, it's working for them. It's electric. The Bears in the fourth quarter might be the best offense I've ever seen.
They're incredible in the fourth quarter. They've been really, really, really doing well. I will say, though, that the mistakes will eventually come back to haunt them. I mean, we talk about that interception where he's down near the goal line and he just kind of flicks it up in the air, backpedaling. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, that's a tough play. You got to throw that bad boy out the back of the end zone. You got to throw that in the way. What are we doing here? That's one of those young plays.
Bryce Young played like Steve Young, and Caleb Williams played like Bryce Young. Some of the decision making, it's some of the stuff you've criticized Jordan Love for all year, throwing off his back foot, throwing like off balance, and Caleb Williams did it all game. Now, fortunately, half of those throws went to Colston Loveland, who the Packers just decided not to cover ever. I saw 3 catches. He caught the ball. There wasn't anyone within 8 yards of him, and it's like a crossing route. Like, where is everybody?
Well, I mean, maybe they just expected him to do a lot more blocking, and the Bears figured out that that's what their scheme was, because realistically, he should not have been open for as much as he was. I mean, at the end of the day, I know that they typically scheme a little bit more around Kmet when they talk about the receiving tight ends. But Loveland clearly showed you that he's got the hands and he knows where to be in his spots. I think that realistically, Ben Johnson feels very comfortable with any of these guys being in a very useful role, and that's telltale for the playoffs. You definitely want to make sure that you have as much dynamic playmakers on each side of the ball, and more specific on each side of your offense. So I think that they really, really used him well in this game. I think I think 15 targets for your second tight end. That says a lot about what they felt was going to be vital in this game. And I mean, the same thing for the Packers. I mean, Dowdle's your 4th receiver, and he's out here with 11 targets. That tells me that these guys really, and I put Reed and Golden as 1 and 2, but I mean he's going to be the guy that he feels very comfortable and very safe with, a guy who's going to get those balls. And so I think that's where Caleb Williams felt this game. I mean, Loveland was getting what he needed to get. Same thing with DJ Moore, 6 receptions. I mean, we talk about making sure that your guys are in the right place at the right time. He made some great catches. And just made his quarterback feel much more comfortable in situations where he had to kind of let the ball go. So I really thought that, even though we can see the inaccuracy in Caleb Williams in a lot of instances, when he needed to get the ball to the receivers, he did. When he needed to extend drives, he did. And so that was some good football. I really, 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 really liked the fact that he just kept some poise. And I hear some people talk about the fact that no one's really seen Caleb Williams in the playoff. Obviously, nothing in Oklahoma, goes to USC, doesn't do it there. Injury, doesn't come back. And then so it's like, what's his mentality here? What's his pedigree? Is he going to be that guy who can buckle down, or is he going to show that inexperience? And he showed the poise to really hold his team together, drive them down the field when they needed to, and get the points when they needed to in that fourth quarter. Incredible football.
There, kind of along the same vein there's a quote from Bryce Young which really stuck with me as far as his development, and that was that you don't rise to the occasion. No one rises to the occasion. Pressure exposes who you really are. And that was something the Panthers had talked about, and I realized I don't think I'd ever seen Bryce Young speak, and he's eloquent and sounds very cerebral. I was very surprised. And then Jordan Love's interview, just kind of Jordan Love nonsense. But yeah, I think for Love, for me, looking forward for the Packers, this version of Jordan Love is the best version there's been all year. He played a phenomenal game, made great decisions, hung in the pocket, and made pinpoint throws. I mean, 323 for 4 touchdowns and no mistakes, 1 sack. You win that game 90% of the time.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, that's gonna be a win. Yeah.
So I think the Packers, who have a lot of injuries and stuff, I think their 2026 is looking up. If they can get that version of Jordan Love, this is a dangerous team.
Absolutely. And one thing that we didn't even touch on yet is the fourth downs. Packers go 3 for 3 on fourth down. So, and 6 for 15 on third down, which isn't ideal. That also will cost you games. But punting, when you need to punt and turning over field position, is a part of the game. You gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. I will say though, fourth down efficiency, 3 for 3. That's a telltale that your team is moving in the right direction. That they understand where they need to be and how to move to keep the chains moving. And so I think that was definitely a plus for them to take away from this. At the end of the day, season's over. The penalties, I think, overall really did them in. 7 for 65, and so the Bears 2 for 5. 2 penalties, 5 yards. Like that's where you're not making mistakes. And the game clock wasn't too far off. I mean, we look at it and they pretty much Bears a little bit more. 32 minutes to 27, 33 to 27, something like that. And so we look at the totality of the game and we say, where are these two quarterbacks moving? Obviously, Bears looking to next week, Packers looking to Cancun, and they've got a lot of injuries that will be settled next year. I think they'll probably make 1 or 2 moves in the offseason to kind of bolster that defensive line so that they're not only relying on Micah Parsons, but I think that honestly they are going to be challenging again next year for the division, and I'm sure that they're going to be excited. I see people calling for LaFleur to get fired, and I'm like, what is the deal with the NFL? Every 5 seconds,
he's not Mike Tomlin. Come on.
Hey, Tomlin's winning too. I mean, Tomlin's winning too. I hate to say it, but at the end of the day, you cannot get rid of a coach who has a team who loses a playoff game by 1 score off of kicker misses, by the way. We're talking about 3 misses here. We're talking about 7 points off the board in the extra point and 2 field goals. That's the difference in your game. He makes 2 of those, they win the game. Even still, he makes 1 of them and it changes field position. So, you can't really fault LaFleur for that. What is he supposed to do about that? You lose your best defensive player. Your quarterback goes out a couple times during the regular season. And they still managed to not only make the playoffs, but be just 1 score away from the divisional round. And so, if I'm LaFleur, I'm definitely looking up for next season. I think that they have what they need in a couple places. I think they need to bolster a little bit on the O-line. Obviously, quarterbacks going out. Run game not nearly as efficient as it was last year. You're gonna look to put a guy on that line and maybe help out somebody to really help out there. But overall, I think the Packers aren't lost. They're not lost. I think they know what they need to do in the offseason. And kudos to the Bears for getting two wins over the Packers in one season, which hasn't been done in a very, very long time.
Getting into the slate, we have a trio of games today. 1 on Monday night. The AFC has a lot of work to do to be as entertaining as the NFC already is, with the Niners and the Eagles on deck. So let's start in the AFC. Let's start Jags-Bills. This is the night game. No, it is not. I apologize. This is the first game. This is the 11 a.m. Arizona time game today.
Yes, sir.
Jags are currently 1.5-point favorites. I think that's about right. I think for me, both on paper and mentally, the Bills are still the better team for me. But man, this Jaguars team is hot, and they have been playing so well. And I'd be hard-pressed not to pick the Jags to win this one.
Honestly, with the way that the Bills have played, they played such an up and down season. They've lost games that they shouldn't have. Their defense has faltered. When Josh Allen is on, he is on. But when he's off, oh man, it is rough for them. And so I'm 100% understanding why a lot of people would be not necessarily up on the Bills and maybe want to go ahead and take that risk on the Jags team that is very inexperienced in the terms of playoffs, but is looking really, really good this year. I mean, you losing, in my opinion, obviously your best receiver and still going and having a phenomenal season, leading your team to a divisional championship, 13-4 season. Trevor Lawrence finally has arrived, and that money that they paid him and all those little comments where they're like, well, maybe he just needs this little piece. Maybe they just need this little piece. Maybe they just need this little piece. Finally coming to fruition. So I'm excited for the Jags this season as well. I think that they really do have the chance to really put themselves in a position against a very strong Bills team who we've watched for the last couple of years just be one score away, one play away, one drive away, from making the Super Bowl. And again, Josh Allen reigning MVP. I mean, you can't really not think that guy's going to put on a clinic in the playoffs. And the Bills have played in the playoffs on the road. That's what they do. So we can't really look to see anything else other than what we've seen from the Bills, in previous years. But at the same time, we're still seeing the same faults and failures that we see from Josh Allen, where he's been inconsistent in games when he tries to do too much and ends up, not being a benefit to his team. And so I'm torn here. I'd expect that the Bills would win. I would not be shocked if the Jaguars just came out here and absolutely put on a clinic, show and expose the Bills for what they were. And I would want to say, if Josh Allen doesn't make it out of the first round, what does that say about his legacy right now? Because we talked about it, and everybody talks about how the only roadblock between him and a Super Bowl was Patrick Mahomes. Well, there's no Mahomes here. You can't make that excuse anymore.
Well, he's got a new excuse. He's a married man now, and she thinks he's more than football, okay? To answer your question seriously, I don't think outside of Buffalo it matters. He has to win a Super Bowl to be an all-timer, right? But you see the way they treat Jim Kelly in Buffalo. I mean, Josh Allen is already the greatest Bills quarterback of all time. I think a Super Bowl is icing on the cake. Obviously, you want the ring, but I don't think it's a detriment to his local legacy if they don't get it. Now, nationwide, league-wide, yeah, I mean – there's something to be said for the guys who win MVP trophies and win 10 games a season and never win, right? I mean, we talk about them every season. They come up every season. It's like, Dan Marino.
Dan Marino.
One of the greatest statistical quarterbacks of all time was not surpassed until, this recent batch of quarterbacks. No ring. It comes up every single time you mention his name. So, yeah, I think he has to win a Super Bowl to be taken seriously from a legacy standpoint nationally. But I don't know that the Bills or the Bills fans need the ring to be winners. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
I think they're good with the playoffs every year.
I don't know. I think they definitely want it. I mean, Bills Mafia is one of the most loyal fan bases to the point where they come out and shovel their own stadium. There's nobody
to the point where they don't even put a roof on the new stadium. Nope. These fans are
why? The fans want the snow. They want that weather. That's Buffalo pride right there, baby. They got enough underground tunnels in the city already. All right. They want to be outside. They want to be in the trenches with their team. I bet you put any of those guys who are in the parking lot and you say, hey, throw some pads on, get out in the field. They'll be more than happy to do it. 100%. They don't give a punt return. Get robbed. Oh my God. But I will say this. If you're Josh Allen and your career ends up being you get an MVP, you have some phenomenal seasons. Is your pedigree more on the lines of Dan Marino, where every single time we question, the greatest quarterbacks, we always look at that? Because Marino was here. Like, I think that even Lamar Jackson, even Josh Allen right now aren't still at the same pedigree as a Dan Marino, in my personal opinion. I just think that his legacy as being such a successful, such a great statistical quarterback, is going to sit for a long time. With that being said, if you're Josh Allen and you don't win a ring, are you more Dan Marino or are you more Phillip Rivers? Right? Rivers was a very good quarterback in the NFL. You can talk about how great Josh Allen is and how he's a dynamic quarterback, but I can name a bunch of really good quarterbacks that didn't win a Super Bowl. I mean, guys who make it to the AFC Championship a bunch of times don't get recognized nearly as much as they probably could. We know who Jim Kelly is.
Warren
Fair
Moon.
enough. We know who Jim Kelly is because he at least made the Super Bowl 4 times and lost it 4 times, right? The namesake is there because at least it's a record. It's something that but Josh Allen right now is just a very, very good quarterback. He's a superstar in the league. Is he legendary? And that's what a Super Bowl does for you. The Eagles know Nick Foles will be cemented in Eagles history for one fucking game, for one playoff run, one game where he didn't even start the regular season.
The Philly special.
Exactly. We know who that man is for forever. Cemented.
Yeah, Big Dick Nick, right?
Exactly. That guy is going to be, his name is going to be around and cemented in history. Obviously, you know that if you're a fan of the team. Of course. But there are plenty of people outside of the league or outside of Philadelphia who still recognize that. And so I think obviously Josh Allen's got the pedigree. He's got the awards. He's got the MVP. He's got the skill set. We've seen him play successfully and play really well. He needs that championship to cement that legacy, in my opinion.
So today, Bills and Jaguars, 2025, this game, all that matters. Who wins this game?
I'm going to probably give it to the Bills. I just feel like they've played on the road, and they played on the road in the playoffs for so long that I just feel like this could be one of those instances where they finally get over the hump. They're going to have to play their entire slate on the road. Do I think that they got what it takes to beat the Jaguars today? Absolutely. I think they have a better run game. I think that if we just look at the quarterbacks flat against each other, Josh Allen is definitely the more dynamic quarterback. I think that the biggest issue here for them is for the Jaguars is that they're gonna be playing against a guy who's going to come down the field and score, and their defense is going to spend a lot of time on the field. Their defense is going to they may get fatigued, and so that fourth quarter where he comes alive, where suddenly you start seeing those scrambles for 15 yards on every other play, and then a dump off, and then here you go, here it goes again. Like that's what I expect to happen in this game. I think that earlier on in the game, I think the Jaguars are trying to keep the game settled. They'll try to play a game where they maintain the clock, they control the pace, because that's the best option for them. Force Josh Allen to play rapid pace football, keep him constrained, keep him in the pocket, and force him to get accurate throws to those receivers. You're going to have to contain Cook. You're going to have to make sure that you don't bite on these play actions and get beat over top. And that's obviously difficult in a game where your guys aren't necessarily as experienced in the playoffs. I mean, I can't name 5 guys on the Jaguars who really have any good playoff experience. Bills have been battle tested. They've been tried and true, and there's a reason why there's only a 1.5 point favorite at home with a better record.
I have 2 bets on this game for the outcome. One is Jags money line. The other is Bills minus 6.5. Because I think those are the only possible outcomes for this game. My pick is the Jaguars. I'm picking the Jaguars to win. If the Jaguars regress at all, or if we get AFC Championship Josh Allen, the Bills will threaten to win this game by double digits.
I can see that.
My pick is the Jaguars. I think they have shown us this year who they are. They are good on offense. They are good on defense. They match up well with what Buffalo has done recently. I like the Jaguars here.
Buffalo's defense is just going to be the issue here. The defense has played so inconsistently, and it's different when it can be good and it can be so bad. Like and we've seen two really, really great games in the start of this playoff slate. I mean, we're looking at games where teams are scoring 30 points a game, and so if the average is approximately 30 right now, Buffalo's on par with giving up 30. That's an easy one. Buffalo's on par with giving up 30. The question is, can Josh Allen and that team get so hot that they end up putting up 40? Because they can absolutely do that. There's no question. I just feel like if we're going to look at this season and also the totality of work, I would take Josh Allen really, really showing up in this game. I feel like the narrative is here. His goal is to get to the playoffs, and now his biggest obstacle is gone. If he does not do it this year.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say black and white, right? Like, he's better than Trevor Lawrence. He's a better quarterback.
True. And James Cook is a better running back.
Yeah, but I kind of like ETN to go for like 85, 90, 95 yards in this one because the Bills have gotten gashed a few times. Mm-hmm. And so if you start to build that game narrative, right, if ETN goes for, let's call it 80, right, and Trevor Lawrence doesn't make a mistake, okay, well, that feels like a tight game to me, right? So if you start layering more, you start layering in like clock management stuff. One thing Josh Allen does is he pushes. He pushes sometimes. He makes some really questionable throws under pressure. Okay, so in a tight game, he's in theory handing to Cook more. It'll limit those throws for Josh Allen. Is this 21-17? Is this a low-scoring game with these two explosive offenses just because of the grind? And I think a low-scoring game, that's the Jaguars game to lose.
If it's a low-scoring game, you're 100% the Jaguars game to lose. I think that the Bills will want this to be a shootout. I mean, honestly, Josh Allen wants to throw for 1,000,000 yards. But I think as far as the shootout goes, if the shootout is what's going to happen, it's more likely that the Bills will win this game. If, however, the Jaguars defense puts the clamp down on Josh Allen, makes him make mistakes, keeps him from using all of that dynamic skill set that he has, I think that it's definitely a benefit to the Jaguars. A little special.
We got to get a carpet in here because the dog's nails are. I don't know how loud you can hear it, but I can hear it so loud.
But it's definitely a benefit to the Jaguars if they can keep Josh Allen contained. The more you keep him from spreading the field, from allowing his guys to get separation from your defenders and making those insane throws, the better. And also, you got to keep him contained because you got to put him on the ground when he's outside of the tackle box. Otherwise, he's going to go off on you. He's going to hit your guys too. And so I think that's definitely that game is definitely a benefit for the Jaguars if that's the case. If it's a shootout, if it's looking like the other two games that we just watched, don't mistake that the Bills are ready for that, and they 100% want to run the score up in this game and let the rest of the NFL understand that, hey, we're here. This is our year. Don't think about the record. Don't think about the mistakes. This is our time. I will say, late in the season, the Bills did not play well against good defensive teams. They really did not. They took an L to the Texans, and then they took that L to the Eagles. In my opinion, two of the best three defenses in the NFL. They barely got the win over Patriots, and that's again against an inexperienced quarterback who they may see later off in this playoffs. But they're going to have to play against some tough defensive teams to close out the season, to close out this playoff series and get to a Super Bowl. And they're going to have to play their best football, the best football they've played in years, in my opinion.
So let's lock it in. What's your final pick on this?
My final pick is going to be Bills. I just like the experience.
I'm going to take the Jags.
All right, locked in.
It felt gross. It felt gross to say.
Locked in.
Coming back to the NFC, our afternoon game today is the Niners and the Eagles. This is currently sitting Eagles -6, total at 44. That feels a little heavy-handed to me. 6 feels a lot. What do you got on Niners Eagles?
I think the biggest thing here and the biggest takeaway is that the Eagles closed the season out since the break with arguably the best defense in the NFL. We can talk back and forth between them and the Texans, but arguably the best defense in the NFL. They locked down some very, very strong offensive teams. And so when you look at that and you say, okay, they're going to be playing against a Niners team that scores, but we're not necessarily expecting them to put up crazy numbers. I mean, the Niners got the win against the Bears. Obviously, that game, huge numbers, but then they just come in flat as hell against Seattle. And yes, obviously, Seattle is a divisional team, scheming, also best team in the NFL. And so you would expect that that game will be a little more difficult. But their offense looks super inept in that game. And if you put up anything near like that in Philadelphia today, in a home game in one of the most difficult stadiums, I would say, to play in the NFL as far as crowd noise, as far as energy, the city of Philadelphia has been yelling at the 49ers for 7 days. They have been screaming at them everywhere. They have been antagonizing them on social media. They have been, if you're in Philly and you're trying to get a cheesesteak, get the fuck out of here. Philadelphia has been, Philadelphia is diabolical. They put cheesesteaks in the opposing team's locker room.
I'd be happy. That's good eating.
To make your ass fat. That's right, fat and slow. We love it though. That is what I love about the city. And I'm saying right now that I think that Philadelphia is going to take this win. I think that the Niners are a good team. I just think that they're not showing me what I would need to see as a Niners fan in order to take Philadelphia down. If Philadelphia's offense is inept, if Patullo can't get them to actually be cohesive, it'd be a tough day. It'd be a very tough day. But we know Philadelphia knows if they stop Christian McCaffrey, they probably got the best shot at the game. I mean, hell, man almost had 1,000 yards receiving and rushing this year.
So that's one of my 2 questions I have for you. Does Christian McCaffrey get to 100 all-purpose yards in this game in a loss?
Yes. They will utilize him. He will have 15 targets and 20 carries. He will get utilized to hell.
So my other question is more tongue-in-cheek. Do the 49ers have to burn those black jerseys?
No,
they're cursed, right? They're cursed.
They're definitely cursed. I want them to keep wearing them. Keep wearing them. They do not play well in those jerseys. But I mean, honestly, so there is a statistic that says that West Coast teams, when playing on the East Coast, win at a plus 60% rating. Right? So that's something that people take into account. Obviously, Philly's playing in Philly. But for San Fran, it's going to be earlier in the day for them, So they got a little bit of it feel a little bit earlier for them in this game, a little bit more of a morning game. I think that plays to their advantage. Obviously, team's a little bit crisper, but Jalen Hurts on Sundays, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Period. You talk about Monday night games, Thursday night games, Saturday games, whatever. Sunday football, that man knows how to win. No 18 touchdowns, no picks. I think that Saquon's going to get a lot of touches today. I think he's going to really be integral in this game. They're going to need to make sure that they keep him moving, keep the drives running. No bullshit. Run on first down, run on second down, get caught at 3rd and 8. Like, come on now, cut it out. We got to scheme a lot better today in Philadelphia in order for them to take this game.
Well, and realistically, the blueprint for beating the Niners is clock control and ground game, right? So I think Barkley is in for a ton of work today. But we have seen the Eagles passing game come on since their bye week. They've looked a lot sharper. They've looked a lot better. So I think a balanced attack here. Obviously, everyone wants to go out and have a balanced attack, right? But I think a balanced attack here is going to really open up things for Saquon. Would not be surprised to see him over 100 yards early in the third quarter. I think the Eagles win this game comfortably. I don't mean by a large margin, but it feels like this is a game the Eagles get the ball, they score first, and they never relinquish that lead. Just feels like the kind of game where they exert their dominance. This is the defending Super Bowl champ. This is the NFC East champ. This is a really, really good Eagles team. And I think we're going to see the full force of what the Eagles are actually capable of, maybe for the first time this year in this game. I think they're going to comfortably win this game. I don't know about laying those points because that feels like a backdoor cover bullshit moment, but I don't think the Eagles are going to be sweating this one. I think they're going to come out and execute their game plan and win this game.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. My big thing, I got a question for you. Jalen Hurts throws for over 275.
Pull out my model. Hold on.
I only asked that question.
I have him for 218, so I would say no to 275. Okay. If we're sitting here tomorrow and he has 275 passing, I would ask how many long break touchdowns Devontae had.
Yep, and it won't just be Devontae. Honestly, what'll happen is you'll see a team. You'll see them probably scheme a little bit more for Devontae than AJ, because he's been such a safety net. Him and they both are so dynamic. But really, Devontae's a safety net. AJ Brown in coverage. I mean, contested catches, he's making them. But Devontae Smith has been such a consistent receiver as a number 2 in the NFL. I mean, how many organizations have a 1 and 2 with 1,000 yards per season for 3 seasons in a row? There's a reason why this young man won a Heisman as a wide receiver, and people sleep on that. Like, he's good. He's good, and he's a number 2 receiver on the team.
On people. I always forget he won a Heisman. I bitch about the Heisman constantly. I always forget he won a Heisman.
People sleep on that. We forget about that how dynamic of a receiver he is. And I mean, on the defensive side, your sack leader is Jalix Hunt. Your number 4, 5, 6, 7 pass rusher. Like, that's all you need to know about how crazy tough this defense is. And they bring in a guy in Brandon Graham who was just sitting at home relaxed, and comes in and just bolsters a defense that, honestly, I knew missing Jalen Carter was going to need a little bit of adjustment. But they just brought a guy in who settled them down, who got them back into really good football. And I think that's really what their defense needed. And the offense just needs to settle into the game and really start to make it look like Saquon is more of a force than we saw earlier in the season. I think that if you do that, it opens up the field a little bit more for the receivers. And once the defense starts to get back on their heels, they start to drop back into coverage, then you see that offensive line start to pull a little bit. I mean, obviously not having, Lane Johnson, the Hall of Fame defensive lineman, one of the best to ever, or offensive lineman, one of the best to ever do it. Obviously losing Travis Kelce, one of the best to ever do it. That offensive line has taken some hits this year, but I think that they're starting to feel much more in stride. They're going to be playing against a very tough defense in San Fran. Obviously, those guys are absolutely incredible out there, but they're not, in my opinion, nearly as good as Philadelphia, and we're going to see that today. I think Philly can kind of pick them apart in little spots. It's going to be San Fran doing what they do, relying on Christian McCaffrey to be Jesus incarnate. And so Philly's obviously got the one main goal is to stop that guy. If they do, it'll make it much more difficult for San Fran to win this game.
Jason Kelsey's wife, furious that you called him Travis. But I think the rest of your points are good.
Sorry, the more beautiful Kelsey. The more beautiful Kelsey.
Little show business really quick before we get into Chargers Patriots. There's a QR code on your screen to buy the Yelling and Screaming t-shirt. Similar design to this one right here with a little surprise on the back. You can see it in the thumbnails, but I won't ruin it. Part of your proceeds go to buying Sean a new webcam. So this is a very important purchase. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Back to the AFC. We have the Chargers and the Patriots. Patriots are 3.5-point home favorites. Obviously missed out on the 1 seed by a little bit of math, where the Chargers, on the other hand, kind of limped into the playoffs. Obviously a really good team, put up a good amount of wins. but trailed the Broncos for most of the season and were injury stricken from seemingly the beginning. This Chargers team might be the healthiest now that it's been all year, and it's a hell of a time to get healthy. What do you have on Chargers and Patriots, Sean?
This is going to be a fun game. It is going to really test the mantle of a young Drake Maye. We're going to see what this kid's pedigree really is. We've seen Herbert in the last couple seasons. I mean, he's still giving you Philip Rivers-esque quarterback play in I guess in LA. Sorry, almost said San Fran, then San Diego. Good Lord. In LA, he's giving you good quarterback play. Their run game. They had some injuries with Hampton, go to Vidal, come back, and so like they have the receivers and Johnson and McConkey and Keenan Allen, who has absolutely been a vital safety net for him this season. They have the pieces that they need to really put it together a good game and actually take this. I've been told from a few friends that this game right here is where the Chargers really start to say, hey, look, we finally arrived. Like, I know we've been behind the Broncos all season. We kind of were chasing them, but realistically, we weren't worried about them. This is where we arrive. The only downside is obviously they got to play against tough defenses. Patriots defense has played very well this season. Now, granted, they haven't really played too much competition, but they've played well in the games that they did play against good competition. And so I think that they might have the edge here, especially playing at home. We're looking at a team that plays outdoors in the cold versus a team that plays indoors in a nice 70-degree stadium. So that always plays a factor in my opinion. I look to see a very strong game. I look to see a shootout in this game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The offenses here are phenomenal. The Patriots defense has really come on. They do a really good job outside the hashes. I don't know if Amarion Hampton can take advantage of I'll say perceived weakness on the inside. Nobody's really ran hard on the Patriots all year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw my buddy Riley a little shout out. I'm going to give you a D-Gen bet special of the week here. Give me Herbert and Maye to combine for 500-plus passing yards in this game. I think this is going to be electric.
I'll give you one better. Give me Herbert and Maye to combine for 550.
550. 550. That's like 3-to-1 money. That's like 3-to-1 money at 550. 600 will give you 7.5-to-1.
This will be a game that kind of feels similar to what the end of the last two games that we just watched, where both quarterbacks are going to be slinging it. They're going to play fast-paced. There's going to be some scores in the fourth quarter. The Patriots defense either one of these defenses settles in and really locks in the fourth quarter. We'll see much more clamp. But I'm just seeing two quarterbacks right now. And yeah, Herbert was under 4,000 passing yards, but that's not really an indication of how good he is as a quarterback and how good that their receiver core is. We're going to look at two quarterbacks who are going to be putting the ball down the field late in this game. This game is going to be a shootout, in my opinion, especially in the fourth quarter. We're going to see a lot of points coming up in the fourth quarter. And it's going to be a testament to what these two defenses can do. I mean, obviously, they're pretty well. I'd say that they're probably more evenly matched than what we've seen in the first two games, in my opinion, as far as like just position for position when you look at them. But obviously, a little bit better on the running game, in my opinion. Overall, realistically, Henderson has been the best running back that the Patriots have had in 2 decades easily. And so they're looking to really rely on him to help keep the pace of that game. And, Rick forgot that Diggs was on the team, 1,000-yard receiver for the Patriots. So, I mean, that's nobody to sneeze at. On the other side of the ball, you've got 3 very good receivers. You've got possession reception. You've got deep ball threat. You've got some speed. You've got a lot of options for Justin Herbert. And I don't expect that he's going to not use them all. He's going to definitely get the ball to his guys. So I'm just expecting that it's going to be a very, very, very good offensive game for both of these teams. The run game is going to be needed to pace the clock, especially early on. You're going to want to make sure that you're wearing these defenses down. You're going to want to make sure that you're wearing these defenses down. Um, but at the end of the day, I mean, we just watched 2 games where the quarterbacks really, really shined. And so to say that 500 passing yards is a stretch really isn't the case. 550, 600. I mean, hey, look, we're looking at 2 teams who scored a fair amount in the regular season and are looking to do so again in this playoff.
I think what I need to see from the Patriots is, can you go toe-to-toe with the Broncos? And the Broncos' defensive secondary is elite. So I have the Patriots winning this game. But what I'm more interested in seeing is, what do the Patriots do through the air, especially on deeper routes, deeper in the route tree, more air yardage from Maye? Because that's maybe the one spot where I thought he had some more room to improve, is like that pinpoint accuracy on deep routes, on air yardage routes. So if they can do that here against a Chargers team that also has a pretty good secondary, that's going to show me what I need to see as far as whether or not they can beat the Broncos. So obviously a lot of games between now and a showdown in Denver. But this Patriots team was my favorite to win the AFC for most of the year. I like them on paper and on the field a little bit more than the Broncos. They're a little less one-dimensional. Sometimes Bo Nix kind of takes over a game and it becomes like the Bo Nix show. Maye does a really good job distributing the ball. So that's what I want to see. Just play your game, be the Patriots. If they do that, they have no problem with the Chargers, and they'll have no problem with whoever comes to town next.
Again, the name of the game is mistakes. As long as nobody's making mistakes, you put your team in the best situation to win. And when you've got 2 offenses that can really sling the ball, it's going to come down to how these defenses can snuff out those coverages and maybe force these guys into a pass that gets them a turnover. If you get somebody on the back end too, you pop a ball out, a fumble here or there, that's going to be the name of the game. I also would love to. It's also going to come down to special teams. We forget sometimes that that's obviously as important as it is, but realistically, special teams matters. And Cam Dicker is a very, very, very good kicker.
Dicker the kicker,
baby. Dicker the kicker is a very, very, very good kicker. So I think that if it comes down to it, in my opinion, if it comes down to relying on one of those 2 guys, I think that I would be ready, willing, and able to put that guy up there and let him make the kicks. On the other side of the ball, you've got the Borregales is actually pretty damn solid too. I mean, he's been excellent all year. Both these guys, top tier kickers in the NFL, 96, 97% accuracy rating. And so they're really, really, really expecting for these to be some good kicks overall in this season, this game, and make sure that they win this game outright. But I mean, 50 plus, we're looking at the Patriots 100% on the season. So I mean, long field goals, they feel real comfortable with it. I think that this is going to be a tough game, but I think if it comes down to one score, another one of these games where it's, down to the wire, final score, I think that's what I expect in a game like this.
Well, I can't believe you took the funnest game of the day and turned it into a kicker conversation. Why don't we move to Houston and Pittsburgh? This is the Monday night game. Houston 3-point road favorites in Pittsburgh. This one's weird because now it's playoffs, right? Like now it's playoffs. So I hate Mike Tomlin. I think if you've watched this show, you know that. I told you the loser of that game is getting fired.
You're right.
But now it's the playoffs. Now this is playoff Steelers, and this is a whole different game. Houston's quarterback is still, if I'm not mistaken, still CJ Stroud. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's still pretty accurate.
Give me Aaron Rodgers over CJ Stroud. This Texans team is incredible. I am so impressed by them top to bottom. I am impressed by CJ Stroud. He's come on this season, and he's made me eat a lot of crow. Good for CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud loses the Texans this game.
Interesting. I'm going to say that the first off, I hate the script writers because they did it again. They decided to put Aaron Rodgers in a primetime game on Monday night because they knew that that's where he performs well, right? You hate Mike Tomlin. I hate the scriptwriters. He could have played the Saturday. He could have played the Sunday afternoon game. No. Sunday evening game. No. Let's put him primetime on Monday. Let's give him the time. Let's let the old man have the time that he needs. Let's put him in a schedule where he feels comfortable. Look, it's bullshit. At the end of the day, the Texans defense has taken out the Chargers. They've taken out the Bills later in the season. I mean, they are a better defense. Top to like overall, Steelers defense has been storied. They keep them in games definitely. If we're talking about QB pedigree, absolutely, it's Rodgers over Stroud, day in and day out. But when we're talking about overall team play, we're going to look at the Steelers run the clock as much as possible. They're going to play a slow, methodical, grandfatherly game. And then we're going to see what happens with this Texans offense. If their offense can keep themselves on the field, which is obviously what every team needs to do. If their offense can keep them on the field, the run game can be effective. Obviously, they've had multiple different guys back there this season. Tough to really get it going. When you lose Chubb, and then you got Chubb and Mark's not really. Those two guys are good. But realistically, we need to make sure that they're putting the best product on the field. Both of those guys are going to have a tough time against a tough defense here. Watt's going to be in the backfield, and so I can see a Steelers win here, even though I don't like it. I can see it happening. I just think that obviously we're talking about two quarterbacks, and Stroud has playoff wins. It's not like he's inexperienced in this place. He understands the game. He's got his receivers. He understands his guys. But it just feels like a trap for me. It just feels like the NFL sets this shit up where the Steelers get to play at their ideal time. They get to play at home. And they're going to be that team that just kind of sneaks that win in. That lower wind but higher seeded team that sneaks the win in. I'm bullish on the Steelers taking this game against a good Texans team who deserves really all the accolades this year for really sticking it out and really stepping up.
I've got two fun bets for this game.
Okay, let's see what you got.
Aaron Rodgers rushing touchdown at 28-1.
Oh, that's
an octopus, which is the same player scoring the touchdown and the 2-point conversion at 19-1. Those are the two bets I like in this game.
Okay.
And I like it to be I'll get super specific. You don't have to be this specific to bet the octopus, but I like Woody Marks on a rushing touchdown late, and then he catches the 2-point conversion. And Aaron Rodgers, I think it's the rushing touchdown where the whole defense bites on a fake, and he walks in on the naked boot.
Rolls up. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Honestly, I can see both of those things happen. Now, I would have thought that you would have gone with the Jalen Warren for the octopus, because that man gets used all day, every day. I've never seen. I just think
game flow. I don't think that the Steelers are going for 2, because I think they're up. Give me the Steelers to win this game.
Okay, respect. I was seeing Steelers going for 2 late in the game to put it up 3.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, Tomlin gets up 1. Steelers, they no point kicking the extra point. They go ahead and they do the 2-point, and of course Jalen Warren's running it in. That man does everything. So that's where when you said the octopus, that was my first thought.
Well, hey, the nice thing about the octopus, it doesn't matter who does it.
Doesn't matter who. Oh man, no, this is going to be a tough game. I think that this game will be the lowest scoring game of the entire afternoon, of this entire round. I definitely see that.
16, something gross.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's realistically, this should be. I mean, besides the Eagles and Niners, this is probably the game where teams have the least productive offenses and the best defenses, and so I just expect that this is going to be more of a grinded out. The Steelers. The Steelers' offense is one that's much more methodical, much slower pace. And to that point, the Texans defense really does stifle a lot of teams. So I expect this game to have a fair amount of punts in it. I mean, you're going to see some inept passing, some drives that are going to stall, especially with Stroud. You're going to see some drives that are going to stall on the other side of the ball. And so I think that the defenses are going to really dial it back. I think you're going to see Will Anderson in the backfield a lot. Whether or not he's getting to the quarterback remains to be seen, but we're going to see a lot of good pass rushing in this game. A lot of times where the quarterback's going to have to make a decision as to whether or not he's getting that ball out of his hands. And so I think this is going to be a really tight game. It's going to be one of those games that's much closer. I don't see it being, a barn burner like the other games. But it's going to be fun to watch, and it takes us, it takes us into the work week, which is hilarious. Still doing that in the playoffs is hilarious.
So what's your final pick here?
I'm going to take the Steelers.
All right. So there you have it. That is NFL Wild Card Weekend. We will be back all the way through the Super Bowl. So same time, same place, picking these games up. It gets a little easier after this weekend because it's not split up. But I do like getting to recap some games. So.
Yeah, having a recap is sweet. Honestly, obviously, you got a little more recent to discuss. Some things you don't have the biases of what they did the previous weeks, and you just look at what actually happened on the field, and so that's always fun. But it's been a great season. I love doing this. I keep telling Rick I'm coming back next year with a better camera and a better mic. I do own a microphone, guys. I do own a microphone. I just don't have it on me, so we'll get it. We'll get it for you next season. We'll get dialed in. And we'll make yelling and screaming a lot less yelling and screaming. Cool.
But in the meantime, thank you for joining us on Yelling and Screaming. No rebrand coming this season. We'll be right here yelling and screaming for as long as it takes. Dogs click-clacking on the floor and everything. Enjoy the rest of the wild card games. Should be a phenomenal day of football. We've got our end of season tailgate today, so we'll be enjoying as well. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Sunday.
All right, take care, guys. Enjoy.
Hey, peace out, y'all.